What's going on, everyone? So I was talking through the Golden State Warriors situation and how it appears like they've basically admitted defeat, waving the white flag. Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, and Draymond have all expressed that, hey, the Warriors shouldn't look to mortgage the future. They shouldn't go and try to make that, grand slam swing. And then if it doesn't work out, that's it. Now they're helpless for the next 6-7 years. It kind of seems like the main guys have accepted their fate. Right, they've kind of come to the realization that, like, hey, it's over, right? Like, at least this current road. I don't think any of, like, the big name, I don't think Draymond or Steph will be available this season. Definitely something to look out for in the offseason. I imagine that they have kind of a tough conversation in the offseason, but I think that they'll finish out and ride out this season. But I was kind of made a video going over kind of like, hey, if the Warriors do decide to, instead of being sellers or being buyers, do they look to maybe be some sellers and maybe unload some guys if it makes sense, right? And the Lakers, Buddy Hield, Dennis Schroeder, two guys that can make some sense for the Lakers. Kevon Looney, I don't even hate. Bottom of the totem pole for me. But, like, if everything else fails at the center position, I wouldn't mind just taking a flyer on Kevon Looney for the year. If, again, absolute bare bottom, like, everything else fell through at the center spot, right? So just keep in mind, because he's not really a true center, but he is a very good rebounder, right? So there is some benefits there, in my opinion. But while I was talking about that, something that popped into my mind that I kind of just briefly brushed over, because, like I said, it literally popped into my head in the middle of the video, was based on reports that have came out, it appears that it's the Warriors or the Lakers that are essentially in the hunt, the two top teams that are most likely to land Nikola Vucevic. And if the Lakers and the Warriors are the only two teams, and the Warriors drop out of that race, that would leave one. So my question becomes, based on the recent conversations that the Warriors have been having, is Nikola Vucevic headed to the Lakers? Right? Like, is that something that ends up coming to fruition? Or do the Warriors still look to maybe make that move in the hopes that that could be a beginning towards something better next season? Right? You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, like, obviously Nikola Vucevic isn't going to make sense, and we're going to just, like, now we're the best team in the league. But if we get Vu now, we have him with Steph, with Draymond, and then we can kind of figure everything out in the offseason. And there could be multiple guys available. Giannis could become available, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, right? De'Aaron Fox, and who knows, right? There's 20 stars that could become available in the offseason. So if you're the Warriors, do you look at it and go, well, let's kind of lay the foundation. Let's kind of lay the groundwork and then figure it out from there. So let's go get some key pieces that make sense to, like, help now. We can kind of get a good look, kind of get, evaluate a little bit, and then also have that piece to continue towards the direction that we want to go next season. Because the beauty of Nikola Vucevic, and why I think that there's potential that the Warriors could stay in it, is he's so cheap asset-wise. Right? Contract-wise, obviously, he's $20 million. But asset-wise, you don't have to give up a first or anything like that. So the Warriors could give up a couple seconds and go and grab him. And they have expiring contracts and all that stuff. So they could, like, that could be their just, like, singular move and then kind of ride that into next season. However, I don't think that they will do, again, this is just my opinion, I don't think that they'll do that. Because, again, like, you're better off waiting till the offseason. There's going to be another guy available, right? Like, there'll be somebody else that makes sense, right? And instead of just, like, burning your assets for a guy, and then also, like, what happens if you end up trading stuff in the offseason, right? What happens if, like, you have to come to that hard conclusion, that hard realization that, like, hey, this might be it. This is probably over. Do you really want, like, now what? Now you got Nikola Vucevic, and are you just going to keep him and, until his contract expires? Are you going to look to move him? But then, like, what are you going to get in return? Could you maybe get your picks back, your 2 seconds back? Sure. But then it's kind of a redundant move, right? But, like, do they do it just to kind of justify, like, hey, we did something, we tried, we didn't want to sell the mortgage, we didn't want to sell the farm, we didn't want to have to do all that stuff, mortgage the future, but we wanted to do something and see what would happen. So we got Nikola Vucevic, right? Like, do they kind of just do like the pandering trade? Possibly. I do think, because again, whenever I like see these reports and stuff like that, obviously there's just like, they're all over the place at times, more often than not, right? Again, I'm just a fan. I just relay the information and give my thoughts and opinions, right? And as always, I ask you for yours. So let me know yours down in the comments. But like, what I try to do is I try to find, like with important stuff, like key stuff, what is the general consensus, right? Like, you'll hear a report from this guy and then a report from this guy completely counteracting these 2 points, right? Like, and they're just two completely different areas, right? Or like one guy will say like, this guy is head of the Lakers. Oh, no, this guy isn't head of the Lakers. This guy's head of the Lakers, right? And you just kind of get these redundancies, right? But one of the consensus from several outlets seem to be that like the Lakers are really in play for Nikola Vucevic, and that the Warriors and the Lakers are kind of the two teams at the helm. That doesn't mean another team can't swoop in. That doesn't mean that, other things could develop or the Lakers maybe pivot and go a different direction, right? Obviously, things could change in an instant. But Nikola Vucevic is also rumored to be so cheap, it's almost worth it for the Lakers. And the Lakers could use the rebounding and the offense and just his versatility and his ability to make plays and all that stuff. Like, there's a genuine argument to Nikola Vucevic. My only real concern with going and getting Nikola Vucevic, and I've talked about this numerous times, is that having to have LeBron play the 3 full time. He's already on one leg. Do you really want to wear him out even further? Like, I don't care how good. Like, Lakers could go get Nikola Vucevic and Bruce Brown and look like they are the best team in the league. And then if LeBron's gassed or, knock on wood, on one leg or something by the time you get to the playoffs, well, then that's it. You're cooked, right? Like, gives the season goodbye type thing. So that's kind of my concern. Right? I don't want to overwork or overexert LeBron to now it's like, well, there goes the neighborhood, right? Like, there goes, our chance, right? Like, I like the idea of bringing in a Nikola Vucevic, right? But I think you have to figure out some schemes, right? Like, have LeBron start at the 3, and then at the 7-minute mark when he usually gets taken out, he gets taken out, and then the next 25 minutes that he plays, right? He's playing the 4, and then the 5 minutes at the end, right? Because he usually plays around 35 minutes. The 5 minutes at the end is him closing that game at the 3, and it's kind of like, can you just give me 2 5-minute blocks of just high intensity basketball, and then you could just coast the other 20, right? Like something like that. It's probably the only way I could see that really working and making sense, but I do think it's very interesting. Like I said, it was just kind of a point that just popped into my head when I was talking through just the Warriors. And then I was like, wait a minute. So if the consensus is that the Warriors and the Lakers are the two teams most likely to end up with Nikola Vucevic, and if the Warriors have essentially admitted defeat and waved the white flag, well then I think that means he's headed to the Lakers, right? Isn't that usually what it means? Hey, you got two options here. One option gets taken away. You got one. And again, I just think there's a genuine argument that he's so cheap asset-wise for his production. Talk about a legit 20 and 10 guy, make plays out of the post. Obviously, he's not great defensively, but he can also handle his own if he's the help defender. If you leave him on an island, he's getting cooked. And that's where the problem is, right? If he's on an island, you can kiss that goodbye, right? That's a bucket. But, if you kind of, you have guys like Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt kind of funneling him, the opposing offensive player into Vu, he can clean it up, right? So you got something there. It usually gets you a steal and a block a game, right? So that's more than what we're getting right now, right? And then just, again, his offensive production. I really like that you can kind of settle things down with him, right? So, for example, that Spurs game, scored 13 points. If you have a guy in Nikola Vucevic, shots aren't falling, nothing's working, it'd be nice to have a guy that you could just put on the block, dump the ball down to him, and just let him go to work, let him work, and just get an easy bucket, right? And just kind of run 3 or 4 straight possessions to him, and just kind of let him be that calming Let him, you'd be better in the half court, all that stuff, which is important, particularly come playoff time, right? Like when the game kind of slows down a little bit, more half court action, right? Like all those things become very important. So I really do like the idea of just like him kind of being this settler for the Lakers. But and then also his ability to pass, right? Like that's another big thing, something that I forgot just now, right? Like his ability, like even when he is on the block, and if that help comes, boom, easy kick it out to various guys. So again, you can even run your offense through him on occasion. He's not like, I'm not saying he's the point, he's not Jokic, but he's a guy that can definitely make some plays, which could be very beneficial to the Lakers. But anyway, just like I said, just kind of thoughts popping in my head, kind of spewing it out, and and kind of, as always, just want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. So what do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that this makes sense? Yeah. If the Warriors are really out on Nikola Vucevic, well, then that makes sense that, the Lakers would end up getting him. Do you even want Nikola Vucevic? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.